Shalom and welcome to Quiz the Bible. My name is Hadriel, a rabbi from the venerable city of Jerusalem. Today, I have been entrusted to guide you through a 21-question quiz from the Holy Scriptures. Before we begin, if I could ask you to zealously click the like button, inscribe your thoughts and revelations in the comments below, and please join our community of wisdom seekers by subscribing too. So, with the curiosity of King Solomon and the joy of King David's dance, let's begin. Question 1. Who was thrown into a lion's den by King Darius? Was it A. Daniel, B. David, C. Peter, or D. Paul? Ponder on it. No more time left. The answer was A. Daniel. Daniel 6 verse 16. So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." Question 2. Who were the first apostles called to follow Jesus? Was it A. James and John, B. Peter and Andrew, C. Matthew and Thomas, or D. Simon and Thaddeus? Ponder on it. That's time. The answer was B. Peter and Andrew. Matthew 4 verses 18 to 20. Jesus was walking by the Sea of Galilee. He saw two brothers. They were Simon called Peter and Andrew, his brother. They were putting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. Jesus said to them, "Follow me. I will make you fish for men." At once they left their nets and followed him. Question 3. For how many years did God make Nebuchadnezzar live like an animal? Was it A. 10 years, B. 20 years, C. 1 year, or D. 7 years? Mull it over. That's 10 seconds. The answer was D. 7 years. Daniel 4 verse 32. You will be driven away from people and will live with the wild animals. You will eat grass like the ox. 7 times will pass by for you until you acknowledge that the Most High is sovereign over all kingdoms on earth and gives them to anyone he wishes. Question 4. Which book comes after the Gospel of Mark in the New Testament? Was it A. John, B. Luke, C. Acts, or D. Revelation? Take a moment to think. Time's up. The answer was B. Luke. Question 5. Who recognized Jesus as the Messiah when he was presented at the temple as a baby? Was it A. Herod, B. Simeon, C. Pontius Pilate, or D. Joseph? Reflect for a moment. No more time. The answer was B. Simeon. Luke 2 verses 28 to 32. Simeon took him in his arms and praised God, saying, "Sovereign Lord, as you have promised, you may now dismiss your servant in peace. For my eyes have seen your salvation, which you have prepared in the sight of all nations, a light for revelation to the Gentiles, and the glory of your people Israel." Question 6. What type of insect did John the Baptist eat in the desert? Was it A. Bees, B. Locusts, C. Ants, or D. Butterflies? Take a moment to think. That's 10 seconds. The answer was B. Locusts. Matthew 3 verse 4. John's clothes were made of camel's hair, and he had a leather belt around his waist. His food was locusts and wild honey. Question 7. How many days was Lazarus dead before he was resurrected? Was it A. 7 days, B. 3 days, C. 4 days, or D. 10 days? Think it over. Time to reveal the answer. The answer was C. 4 days. John 11 verse 17. On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Question 8. Which woman out of the following was mentioned in the genealogy of Jesus? Was it A. Sarah, B. Esther, C. Deborah, or D. Ruth? Think carefully. That's 10 seconds. The answer was D. Ruth. Matthew 1 verse 5. Salmon the father of Boaz, whose mother was Rahab, Boaz the father of Obed, whose mother was Ruth, Obed the father of Jesse. Question 9. Who was the oldest man mentioned in the Bible? Was it A. Adam, B. Noah, C. Methuselah, or D. Seth? Have a think. And that's time. The answer was C. Methuselah. Genesis 5 verse 27. So all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Question 10. What did Judas Iscariot receive for betraying Jesus? Was it A. 30 pieces of silver, B. a royal title, C. a piece of land, or D. a high priest's robe? Contemplate your answer. No more time left. The answer was A. 30 pieces of silver. Matthew 26 verses 14 to 16. Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?" So they counted out for him 30 pieces of silver. From then on, Judas watched for an opportunity to hand him over. Question 11. Who was the prophet who confronted King David about his adultery with Bathsheba? Was it A. Nathan, B. Elijah, C. Ezekiel, or D. Isaiah? Think it over. That's time. The answer was A. Nathan. 2 Samuel 12 verses 7 to 10. Then Nathan said to David, "You are the man. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel says, I anointed you king over Israel, and I delivered you from the hand of Saul. I gave your master's house to you, and your master's wives into your arms. I gave you all Israel and Judah. And if all this had been too little, I would have given you even more. Why did you despise the word of the Lord by doing what is evil in his eyes? You struck down Uriah the Hittite with the sword and took his wife to be your own. You killed him with the sword of the Ammonites. Now, therefore, the sword will never depart from your house, because you despised me and took the wife of Uriah the Hittite to be your own." Question 12. In the book of Acts, who fell asleep and fell out of a window during Paul's sermon? Was it A. Timothy, B. Eutychus, C. Stephen, or D. Barnabas? I will give you some time. Clock's run out. The answer was B. Eutychus. Acts 20 verse 9. Seated in a window was a young man named Eutychus, who was sinking into a deep sleep as Paul talked on and on. When he was sound asleep, he fell to the ground from the third story and was picked up dead. Question 13. Which prophet was swallowed by a great fish? Was it A. Ezekiel, B. Isaiah, C. Jonah, or D. Daniel? Take a moment to think. Time has elapsed. The answer was C. Jonah. Jonah 1 verse 17. Now the Lord provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Question 14. Who was the first martyr in the Christian faith? Was it A. Stephen, B. Peter, C. James, or D. Andrew? I will give you some time. And we're out of time. The answer was A. Stephen. Acts 7 verses 59 to 60. While they were stoning him, Stephen prayed, "Lord Jesus, receive my spirit." Then he fell on his knees and cried out, "Lord, do not hold this sin against them." When he had said this, he fell asleep. Question 15. In Pharaoh's dream, which animal represented 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine? Was it A. a donkey, B. a lion, C. a goat, or D. a cow? Contemplate your answer. Time has run out. The answer was D. a cow. Genesis 41 verses 1 to 4. When 2 full years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. He was standing by the Nile, when out of the river there came up 7 cows, sleek and fat, and they grazed among the reeds. After them, 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came up out of the Nile and stood beside those on the riverbank. And the cows that were ugly and gaunt ate up the 7 sleek fat cows. Then Pharaoh woke up. Question 16. Which disciple doubted Jesus' resurrection until he saw Jesus with his own eyes? Was it A. Thomas, B. Peter, C. John, or D. James? Ponder on it. Time has run out. The answer was A. Thomas. John 20 verses 25 to 26. The other disciples therefore said to him, "We have seen the Lord." So he said to them, "Unless I see in his hands the print of the nails, and put my finger into the print of the nails, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe." Question 17. What was Paul's profession before he became an apostle? Was it A. tent maker, B. fisherman, C. tax collector, or D. shepherd? Think carefully now. Clock's run out. The answer was A. tent maker. Acts 18 verses 1 to 3. After this, Paul left Athens and went to Corinth. There he met a Jew named Aquila, a native of Pontus, who had recently come from Italy with his wife Priscilla, because Claudius had ordered all Jews to leave Rome. Paul went to see them, and because he was a tent maker as they were, he stayed and worked with them. Question 18. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, who was the first to pass by the wounded man? Was it A. a merchant, B. a Levite, C. A Samaritan, or D. A priest? Take a moment to think. That's 10 seconds. The answer was D. A priest. Luke 10 verses 30 to 31. In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side." Question 19. What did God create on the fourth day? Was it A. sun, moon, and stars? B. dry land and plants? C. sea creatures and birds? Or D. land animals and humans? Take a moment to think. The time is over. The answer was A. sun, moon, and stars. Genesis 1 verses 16 to 19. God made two great lights, the greater light to govern the day and the lesser light to govern the night. He also made the stars. God set them in the vault of the sky to give light on the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the fourth day. Question 20. Which woman in the Bible was turned into a pillar of salt? Was it A. Sarah, B. Lot's wife, C. Rebecca, or D. Rachel? Take a moment to think. That's time. The answer was B. Lot's wife. Genesis 19 verse 26. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Question 21. Who was the high priest of Jerusalem who put Jesus on trial? Was it A. Herod, B. Caiaphas, C. Annas, or D. Pontius Pilate? Reflect for a moment. Time's up. The answer was B. Caiaphas. Matthew 26 verses 57 to 58. Those who had arrested Jesus took him to Caiaphas the high priest, where the teachers of the law and the elders had assembled. And that is all we have time for today. I've been your host Hadriel, a rabbi dedicated to the study of God's Word, here in the heart of Jerusalem. Remember, the words we've explored are living waters, meant to refresh and renew your spirit. If you've been enlightened or inspired by our time together, please consider this your invitation to engage further. Please leave your reflections as a comment and embrace our growing community here at Quiz the Bible by subscribing. Until next time, may the wisdom of Solomon, the patience of Job, and the courage of Esther be your companions. Shalom, dear seekers of truth, and may God bless you.